whatever you do, you've got to be a little bit gone to it. You're not all there. You've got to be almost insane to your craft. Not a lot of people can understand that. That's why I don't know about nothing else. I do not pay attention to nothing else. That's my life. Sequences and numbers. Nothing else. I cannot pay attention to nothing else.
The first rule of success is to have a vision. You see, if you don't have a vision of where you go, and if you don't have a goal where you go, you drift around and you never end up anywhere. It's like you can have the best ship in the world, you can have the best airplane in the world. If the pilot or the captain doesn't know where to go, it would just drift around. It would not end up anywhere, or most likely in the wrong place. My vision was totally different. I felt that I was born for something special, for something unique, for something big. So I was searching. I want to become a bodybuilding champion, just like Reg Park. Do you know how great it felt that I knew where I was going? Imagine the majority of people don't know where they're going. I knew where I was going, that I'm going to become this bodybuilding champion just like him. So it was just a question of how do you do it? I was so relieved, because when you have a goal, when you have a vision, everything becomes easy. The majority of people don't like what they're doing, because they're really not doing it because they didn't have a goal and they followed this goal. They just aimlessly drift around, and then all of a sudden there's a job opening, so they get that job because you have to work. But then when you work, it's a chore. It's work. It's not fun. So if you think about, only a quarter of the people really enjoy what they're doing in life. That is unbelievable if you think about it. So I felt so blessed that I knew what I was doing. It's like a medical student that studies and knows he wants to become a doctor. You know where to go. So I knew where to go.
There's no light without dark. If you love anything on the planet, you'll be called hateful against something else. The only people who aren't hateful are people who don't love anything and don't stand up for anything. I feel happiest when I do the things I'm supposed to do because I'm supposed to do them. Doing what you're supposed to do and fulfilling your duty and being proud of yourself is fun. That's the only fun you need. You don't need the fun of trying to chase all this garbage and this hedonism and this black hole. That doesn't lead anywhere. Well, I feel sad, but it doesn't matter because I'm doing the right thing. I feel depressed or I feel stressed, but it doesn't matter because I'm dedicating myself.
I had to believe in it. I had to feel it. I had to have faith in it for it to happen.
I'm in phenomenal shape, in body and mind. To me, what's unhealthy is living an unhealthy life. To me, what's unhealthy is getting up and going through the same day every day of your life, 9 to 5, in an office or in a, you know what I mean? That's unhealthy. That beats your mind. I don't work. I love what I do. And that's why I'm doing what I love. You know what I mean? That's why it's become a career for me, because I love it. I love what I do. So I don't think it's unhealthy. I feel good in my mind. I mean, it's my life.
So people always ask me, when they saw me in the gym in the pumping iron days, they say, why is it that you're working out so hard, 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, and you have always a smile on your face? The others are working out just as hard as you do, and they look sour in the face. Why is that? And I told people all the time, I said, because to me, I'm shooting for a goal. In front of me is the Mr. Universe title. So every rep that I do gets me closer to accomplishing that goal, to make this goal, this vision, turn into reality. Every single set that I do, every repetition, every weight that I lift will get me a step closer to turn this goal into reality. So I couldn't wait to do another 500-pound squat. I couldn't wait to do another 500-pound bench press. I couldn't wait to do another 2,000 reps of sit-ups. I couldn't wait for the next exercise, for the next half hour of posing and all the kind of things that you have to do to be a champion. I felt so great knowing where I was going. And I tell you, it worked. I mean, think about it. And at the end, I was just not visualizing just my exercise, but I was really lifting the trophy over my head. That's what I was thinking about.
I think one of the largest tenets of masculinity for the largest period of human time is ignoring how you feel and doing what you're supposed to do because you're supposed to do it. We feel things, but jobs must be done, whether we are happy or sad. I'm stressed probably 6 days a week. I'm pissed off 6 days a week, but things need to be done.
Right.
So you just have to do them. I think humans, we're designed to struggle a bit, because the closer you are to struggle, the more sensible you are. Hard times create good men create good times, and the good times create a bunch of weaklings, and they mess everything up. Like, I think that inside of the human psyche, sometimes you need to be shocked. You need to be hammered with something. That's just how it goes. Because until then, you're like, maybe I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah.
What is life without difficulty in the first place? What is life? What is the point of life without difficulty? But in a world where everyone's chasing comfort and I'm chasing challenges, I really do think that would be a story.
I don't do nothing any different. I still come to the gym. There's people trying to get me to do this and get me to do that. In order to be successful at this game, it needs to be 24/7. I need to be living in this gym. And that's since this new facility, SBG Concord, has opened up, the setup now is I come here at 1, 2 o'clock in the day and I'm here till 10 o'clock at night. There's no outside distraction. There's no nothing. It's been crazy. The spotlight is on. The Irish public are watching, but it's what we planned. It's what we prepared. I knew I was going to be the person to bring martial arts to the public eye. It's that hard work pays off, that dreams come true. And that's what's happening.
And it was because I had a goal. And this is no different than anything else, what I'm talking about. This is not just about bodybuilding. And so I had this in my mind, no matter how much I bleed on my elbows or my knees, and I would do it over and over again until we got it. So let me tell you something, visualizing your goal and going after it makes it fun. You got to have a purpose no matter what you do in life. You got to have a...
The reason you lose is because you've been programmed to lose by all of your experiences throughout life. Winners are programmed, losers are programmed. I was programmed to be a winner in any scenario because I was raised in a very specific way. You were not. So we're going to start at the absolute beginning of why you've ended up a loser, because most of you never self-reflect. You're dummies who never look in the mirror and say, how did I end up where I am? Why am I the person I am? Why do I believe the things I believe? You don't self-analyze. So you don't understand how your own mind works, which means you don't understand why you are where you are. Because before you make a move on the chessboard, you need to analyze your position. By analyzing the board, the smartest thing you can do is to try and take your strengths and play them off against your weaknesses. So if you're poor, you have hunger and motivation, what you have to do is fix the things you don't have. You need to get around rich people. You need to get a good network of people you can trust who have a lot of money. You need to find a teacher who's prepared to teach you how money really works. That's the first thing. The second thing, and your biggest problem to fix, is your monumental laziness. And you have to understand that you innately are lazy. You innately lack hunger and fire. You're innately afraid. You're a coward. You lack the balls it takes in many scenarios to get rich or die trying. That's the truth. People in the ghetto already have the fire. Those brothers already have fire. Yeah. They're already prepared to do anything it takes. You need to ignite the fire inside of you. You need to make sure there's something inside of you that's going to get you motivated like a poor person's hunger, because you've never felt it before. Because the poor don't need motivation. The poor understand what it's like to be taken advantage of. And the poor understand what happens when you have no money and no food. You don't. You're not poor. You have food in your fridge, but you lack motivation because you're a dipshit. And that's why you've actually had a very bad start in life. You need, and this is very important, not only do you lack fire, you lack imagination. Because when you're poor, let me tell you something poor people do all the time. You imagine. My brother and I used to sit around and talk about what could be if only we managed to get it out. How it would feel to have this car. How it would feel to be in this place. How it would feel to be famous and internationally renowned. How it would feel to go to Saint-Tropez and live on a yacht. How it would feel to be able to fly on private planes. How it would feel to not have to worry about food anymore. My brother and I used to imagine for hours. We used to talk about it. We believed in this version of reality where we somehow made it. Not only do you lack motivation, you lack imagination. And that's why it's very important. You need to start believing you are the man, even if you're not yet. Before I was world champion, I knew I was going to be world champion. You have to believe these things. We had imagination and we had hunger and fire. You don't have those things. That's why you're fucked. Do you not understand? It doesn't matter how tired I get when I fight. I'm never actually tired because I am so desperate to hurt my opponent. I am more desperate to hurt him than I am tired. In all realms, forever. That is the hunger and motivation. That's why boxers start poor. That's why fighters are poor. There's a different mentality they're born with. They imagine being champion. They're prepared to do anything it takes. They have hunger and fire inside of them. There's no middle class champions. None. So it's extremely important you develop your imagination as well as your fire. And I'm saying this to you because there's a whole bunch of you who don't realize how badly you've failed. You need to start imagining what actual freedom is. You need to start seeing beyond the confines of your comfort. You need to start developing the hunger it's going to take for you to elevate to the highest possible echelons and stop being enslaved by your comfort, because that's what you're enslaved by. It's extremely important. Your future is the result of your daily actions. You're defined by what you do today. Lazy now, loser later. Get to work. Now, what have you done today which is going to positively affect the outcome of your future? When have you sat and imagined your dream life? When have you self-analyzed and self-reflected and tried to work out where you've gone wrong to end up such a mediocre specimen of man? Why can't you go down to the dealer and buy a brand new Lamborghini right now? Why not? Is it a lack of money? Is it a lack of, what is it? Is it only money? Are you afraid if you buy one you'll get robbed? What is stopping you? Have you even thought about any of these things? Has it even crossed your mind? It's extremely important, gentlemen, that you understand the chessboard and understand exactly where you are so you can make changes. Most of you are not actively building a future. You're not actively trying to build the dream life that you want to have. And then you expect it to just appear. Do you know why? Because when you were born in the middle, your parents put food in the fridge. It just appeared. The heating was just on because it was cold outside. We knew you never had that problem. That's why people at the bottom, we understand intricately. We understand this viscerally. We understand that nothing is going to come to us unless we go out there and get it ourselves. And once you have that, you have endless motivation for all things. That is extremely important. You have to train a fighter, a boxer. Do you want somebody who has poor nutrition and poor sleep, but endless fire inside of them, someone poor, to turn him into Muhammad Ali? Or do you want somebody with a good bed and good food, but lacks fire? Which one do you think is going to become a champion? Which boxers have become champion historically across time? Were they rich men? Were they from middle class incomes? Or were they from the ghetto? Were they from the bottom? It is all a test. It's all a test. You watch me because I perform flawlessly, and I'm not afraid to pay the price. You'd be up here with me if you were brave. When I say brave, and this is a genuine question, when is the last time you made a brave decision? When's the last time you took a brave route and did a brave thing? And I want you to actually take a few seconds and ask yourself that question and answer it. Bravery is a muscle like every other one that must be flexed and used to grow. Bravery is extremely important, and Bitcoin's a super easy answer. What's the worst that can happen? You lose your money? Do you think people like us were afraid to buy crypto once we worked it out? Once we were told about Bitcoin at $800, do you think we were afraid to buy it because we might lose money? Do you not understand? People like us don't give a fuck. That's how we end up here. Oh, you're lacking hunger. You're scared to be brave. You're lazy.
I don't want to put my $6,000 into Bitcoin. I might lose it.
Because you lack bravery. So, if you've done nothing brave that you can mention instantly off the top of your head, then what you need to do is something brave quickly. I'm not quitting. That's called handing the prize to somebody else. There are a certain number of prizes in the universe. There are stars that exist. They're just out there. There's prizes. So the people at the bottom have something that you don't have. It's hunger. You need to now, and this is the actionable, guys, you need to cultivate a lifestyle which is going to endlessly give you fire inside of your heart so that you never struggle with motivation ever again. You need to cultivate that with your social circle. So you need to be around motivated, hungry men. You need to cultivate it with the decisions you make. If smoking weed kills your fire, don't smoke weed. If drinking booze kills your fire, don't drink booze. Everything you need to do. If drinking booze gives you fire, then drink it. I don't care. But you need to sit down and look at your life and say, what's going to make me as motivated as possible? Is it developing an imagination to imagine my dream life? I'm sure it is. Is it having a social circle of people who are always trying to elevate? I'm sure it is. Is it having a girlfriend who supports me in all of my dreams? I'm sure it is. You need to then sit there, look at every facet of your life, analyze it one by one, and develop a lifestyle which is going to give you endless fire, because without it, you are going to lose. You are broken inside. You are lacking a fire inside of you, because once you get that fire, you become invincible. The fire inside of your heart makes you hard to kill, truthfully. It's the fire inside of your heart that makes you uncrushable. The kind of cockroach which survives a nuclear explosion. It is extremely important that you are never in a position where you lack motivation ever again. It is extremely important that you never fuck up an opportunity that is handed to you ever again. And these things are conscious choices you make by changing your lifestyle. There's nothing stopping you from winning besides yourself. I have now given you an actionable. The actionable is for you to design your life around getting endless motivation and fire in all ways. Everything you do needs to be deliberately geared and designed towards giving you motivation and making you feel hunger inside of yourself. Then you must take all of that fire, turn it into positive energy, and exude it out into the universe. If you want it to rain and you don't know what to do a rain dance. Perhaps the rain dance will not make the clouds seed. However, God will be happy that you're taking action as opposed to just sitting still, quietly waiting for rain to appear while being submissive and subservient. No, you have to go out there and do things. God wants to see you take care of what he has given you. Nobody continues to give gifts to the ungrateful. This is absolutely true about life. It's extremely important that you show God that you deserve it. Your discipline will shape your destiny, but it is extremely easy to be disciplined if all you've ever known is struggle. Guys, you as a man should be offended by the fact that my brother and I started miles below you and have surpassed you in every single human metric. That should bother you. But you should also sit there and go, why are they beating me? They started below me. They started the race way back there. And I was so lazy and so stupid, and I took life for granted, and I expected everything to be given to me, that these guys have managed to lap me and surpass me based purely on hunger and grit alone. They had no advantages. All they had was this innate desire to do anything it took. Now is the time. Every single day you need to wake up, take action, and get things done. And we are waiting for you up here at the top.
You know why God made your girl leave you? Because he wanted to show you that you ain't shit.
Women aren't going to respect men who don't respect themselves. You're not going to sit there without working hard and say, well, I'm a man, so you have to listen. That's fantasy tradcon bullshit. That's not real. You have to be about it, right? You're going to feel happy as a man when you feel respected and needed. You need a purpose. People need to need you alive. If you're the kind of man who everyone's life can function perfectly fine if you get struck by lightning, then you're not going to feel happy. You're going to feel happy when you realize that people need you. And for them to need you, you have to be useful and you have to be competent. And whether that's children or your girlfriend or your parents or anyone else who cares about you, I think living for other people is one of the most beautiful things a man can do because it gives you a purpose, a higher purpose. And most of the men out there who live normal lives do exactly that. Why do they work jobs? They work jobs for other people. They don't do it for themselves. Yeah. They don't even keep most of the money. It goes on the kid, the wife, the house, and they're taking care of others. And that's a masculine imperative God has instilled in us. And it's a beautiful thing. And I think if you're going to do that, you may as well do it for your own offspring. Who else are you doing it for?
I agree.
There's no light without dark. You have to decide what you want to do. And the only way to avoid these things is to stay an insignificant nobody. And I think that's the worst possible life a man can live, is invisible. And most men are invisible. Most men are. I say this all the time. Every single time I go on a date with a girl and we're sitting in a restaurant, when we leave, I say, how many men do you think was in that restaurant? And she goes, oh, I don't know, 3 or 4. 3 or 4. There was 10 waiters who you didn't even see. They're invisible to you.
Yep.
They don't even exist. He brought you a drink. He spoke to you. He asked you what you wanted to eat. I had to tell you to say please and thank you to his ass because you're f***ing rude. You're 19. You ain't even working. This dude's working 12-hour shifts. You're like, oh, water. I'm like, water, please. Get some manners. What's wrong with you? These girls, so if you're a man and you're acting together, you're invisible anyway. So you're either going to be an invisible nobody or you're going to be a warlord and you have to be ready for that war. I am ready to win this war and continue with my conquest of Earth and continue to try and inspire people to be the best version of themselves. And I am also very ready to go to jail forever. I'm ready because it's not up to me. It's up to God. And if God decides I need to go to jail, then so be it. If I catch a 10-year stretch, it's going to derail my life for sure. But when I'm 65... or 70, and I talk about the time I caught a 10-year stretch in Romania on some bullshit and lived amongst the cockroaches and the killers in the mental asylum. At least I'm going to have a story from it. At least I'm going to be a better version of myself. I'm not afraid of these people. I refuse to live in fear because this is a choice I made. I made this decision to be this man, and I understood exactly what it comes with. And a lot of people at the bottom see all of the benefits. They see our cars, see the private jets, they see the girls, they see the status, and they want all of that, but they don't want the negatives. And that's why they're never going to get it.
Yep.
Because on your way up, you're going to start getting hit with the negatives. You're going to be derailed. There's no way to get to the top without dealing with monumental levels of stress. I often say the reason a lot of people don't have the things they want is they couldn't handle the things they want. They couldn't handle the life that is required to get the things they want. They simply would get anywhere near it and start to panic and out and just go on holiday and hide on a beach and delete their social media.
Even comments.
Bro, mean comments. Bro. I've got street problems. You think I give a about mean comments from some anon? It's difficult for me to put into words how much I don't care. But there's people out there that do care.
Yeah.
And then they think, oh, I want to be like Top G, but you can't handle a comment on the internet. Bruv, these people are born to lose. So you have to decide, and you need to look in the mirror and really make a decision. Because I think perhaps if you want to build a life, choosing your life path and knowing which life path you want to go down is going to allow you to be the most effective in the construction of that life. If you say, I can't handle that stress, I want to be somewhere in the middle, then accept it, accept the good and bad that comes with that, accept the kind of life you want to build and go do it. But don't sit there and say, I want to be Top G, I want to live this great life, and you're not prepared for war. Because it's coming.
You make women respect you by being a person who's worthy of respect, the same way you make a man respect you. I mean, I really think that if society respects you, females will respect you by an extension. And there's lots of ways you can do that. Obviously, having money helps with that. Having a good job helps with that. Having a nice apartment, nice car obviously helps with that. Being in good shape helps with that. Being smart, being witty, all these things help. But this is the reality of life as a man, is that you have to build your value. People say to me all the time, oh yeah, Tate, you get girls. I said, I got girls because I became a kickboxing world champion. That's thousands of hours in the gym. I wasn't born with some magic. I'm not Ron Jeremy. I wasn't born with some tool. You know, it's like, I had to do it myself. So you have to build it as a man. This is just the unfortunate reality. If you're not prepared to do any work at all, you're going to suffer. And this is the reality of life as a man. You have to build it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of guys kind of go on YouTube, they'll go on blogs, internet, wherever, to kind of figure out, like, what's the thing to say? How do you get a girl? When really it's asking kind of the questions that give you more superficial information that's not going to really do much. And you're talking about, well, become a valuable man. So now that's about building more of a foundation of being an actual attractive person instead of trying to copy and paste things.
You know who Roosh is?
Yes.
Okay, Roosh. So I don't like Roosh. And the reason I don't like Roosh is this. He spent his whole life chasing around the world. He never worked on himself or became a high-value guy. He spent X amount of years chasing women and wrote books like he knows what he's talking about. He's now lonely and old. If he got sick, he'd lay in bed on his own without a nurse, without a wife, without children. He's even failed at women. He has no wife. He has nothing of genuine substance. And that's because he's not a man of genuine substance. So even if he managed to say the right things and sleep with a girl, as soon as she realized he was vapious, she disappeared. So you can't hack having a personality. You can't trick a girl into thinking you're something you're not. If you want a woman to really respect you, then be a man worthy of respect. It's really that simple. My point is that if you end up like Roosh, where it's your only sole focus in life,
got it,
you end up a loser because he's never dedicated himself to anything else.
Yeah.
What has Roosh succeeded at? He's failed financially. He's failed from a family perspective. He's failed even with women. He doesn't even have a woman at the end of it.
I'm giving the best advice I possibly know to men, because I'm telling you, if you're a man out here who's not going to mess around with girls, not get any experience with women, not get experience with how they work, find one girl and instantly fall in love with her, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get f***ing wrecked. You are. The man who just meets a chick, has no experience with girls, isn't really good at getting new ones, they're the ones who end up sitting lonely at 42, divorced by themselves. Every single one of them. The only chance you have as a man now is being versed enough in the game and having enough experience with women to not get played. These women are sharks, G. You gotta be careful. I'm saying these things.
Oh, he's right.
You can't be a man with no experience out here and just meeting your first chick and falling in love. Because 99% of the time, it's gonna go wrong for the man. When men come along and ask for relationship advice to me, I'm like, if you want to be good at something, you need experience. BJJ, driving, keeping a woman happy. I can keep a woman happier than anyone because I've had a bunch of women. If I didn't have a bunch of women, I don't think I'd keep a woman happy the same. I really don't believe that. If you're going to be a man and say, for the sake of love, I want to forgo all of my own experiences and be less competent in the battlefield, That's fine. But I'm telling you that you're putting yourself at risk. I think the best chance a man has now in the Western world is to date, have a bunch of girls, date a bunch of girls, meet a bunch of girls, find the best one he can, and then perhaps settle down. But to sit and say, oh, I've met one now, I'm going to stop the game, you're going to get in trouble. I'm saying that it's a very dangerous battlefield now. When you were saying, I feel sorry for the young people, so do I. It's hard now. Imagine being 15 with social medias and these kind of things. It's nuts. Imagine being a 19-year-old boy now. Every 19-year-old girl you're in love with is on Instagram dating 40-year-old billionaires. It's crazy. And I'm saying that a lot of the men, who are the most heartbroken, who are most upset, people underestimate how important the relationship between a man and a woman is in the masculine life. I can tell you right now, you can give a man everything, but if he's arguing with his chick, his head's it doesn't matter. It's so important. And I'm saying the best chance you have to negate these things is experience with women. You need a degree of experience as a man. Women innately want it. You see a woman who's unhappy with her boyfriend because he's simping or he's acting stupid or he always just chases me around. Women will tell you themselves, he's boring, It's true. You need to get to the point where you have enough abundance and you've been about the game long enough that you can say, that's a shit test, she's playing games, goodbye. You have to. And I'm saying the only way you can do that is with experience and abundance. So as a man, you need to do your thing, get to a point where you meet the one and settle down. But to sit and say that period where you do your thing isn't necessary, I completely disagree with that. I think you're going to end up wrecked if you don't do it. In the modern world, with Instagram, with everyone after his chick, when he's Joe Schmo and I'm messaging her, it's over. And I'm saying the best advice you can give the guy is when he gets his heart broken and he's truly destroyed is, you need to become a man that women don't leave. So you got to get in the gym, and you got to get more important, and you got to get more women, and you just got to become that guy. There's no other way to do it.
Yeah.
You can have anything you want. Universe is super giving. You want a Ferrari, you can have it. You want that bitch, you can have her. You can have anything you want on the planet. There's not a girl I look at that I want that I can't have. Not one. That's my reality. There's not a car I can't have. There's not a house I can't buy. If I want to go to a yacht, if I want to go to Antarctica, there's nothing I can't have. Bam. Because I've decided to become this man. It's the same for absolutely every single one of you at home. If you want it, you can have it. If you're sitting there saying, oh, but I tried my best and I still didn't get it, you're lying. You didn't try your best. That is a lie. The universe gives it to everybody who genuinely tries. And I know that to be a fact because this world's competitive. We're all competing against each other. And the majority of people don't try. The thing about the world is we need losers. I'm not mad at losers. If that's the reality you've chosen to live, you get one spin in this version of life, and you decided you want to be a loser, that's fantastic because my cars need cleaning, my hotel room needs cleaning, I have a party with all these beautiful women that's a bit of a mess. Please, go pick it up. Somebody needs to do that shit. I ain't gonna do it. If I had to walk into a hotel room and clean up after some other man's party, I guarantee you I'd do whatever it took to become rich so I didn't have to do that shit anymore. But you want to do that for 20 years? Thanks, friend. Someone's got to flip the burgers. Someone has to make the fries. I want a Happy Meal now and again. But I don't feel sorry for you people because you deserve it because it's the decision you made. You made that decision. If you're sitting at home and you say, I don't want to be a loser, you know what to do. I told you how to escape the matrix.
It's actually very interesting, the masculine experience, because I like to believe that most men on the planet have lived a semi-similar timeline. Even me, Lord of Earth, Top G, the most interesting, compendious, smart, funny, tall, strong, and brilliant human to possibly ever live, has been through a very similar timeline to a worm like you. And it's quite an interesting thing. Yes, you are a worm. Be quiet. Listen. You're a worm! Shut up! It's very interesting that all of us as men experience a very similar human paradigm. And that is that most men are born and you're not important. And then you go to school and you fall in love with some girl in school and she someone else. And then you realize that all the 19-year-olds you want when you're 19 are with older dudes because they have cars or whatever. And you go through this experience of getting your heart broken and losing your girlfriend, et cetera, et cetera. And many men latch on to some average bitch or accept they're going to have their heart broken forever. But some men decide to become so big and important and strong and irreplaceable that they never have to suffer heartbreak again. Because every man deals with heartbreak and deals with sadness, but how you use that energy is the differentiator between humans, right? You are feeling the same pain that many men have felt. I, as a man, every man out there has had his heart broken and understands how difficult it is as a man. We all know how hard it is to see the girl you love getting plowed. Yeah, to getting plowed by someone else like you have to deal with now. You can log into her OnlyFans and see it. But wow. It's true. It's boy, girl. That's why she started the account. But
The difference between me and you, and perhaps some of the other men out there, is that certain men take that anguish and take that sadness and understand that energy could not be destroyed. It can only be converted and use it to build themselves into a man of absolute standing and power, as opposed to sitting around off like you just told me you do. You are a waste. You are wasting your energy. Heartbreak is unlimited motivation. If I was heartbroken, it's been a very long time, but if I was heartbroken, I'd be in the gym every morning. I'd be a beast. I'd be running. I'd be working. I couldn't sleep. I'd be an absolute animal. And you're heartbroken. And what are you doing? Fucking off like a dumbass. You're right. Of course I'm right. So I understand very, very well heartbreak. Every man does. This is what's so amazing about the masculine experience. Even the top G and a worm have lived a very similar-ish timeline. The difference is, as a man, you must build yourself into a man of credibility, which means to build yourself into a man of standing, we all start in a fairly similar position. I became me through tedious, arduous, difficult, never-ending work. You are wasting your time. And by the time you finally realize I'm right, you're going to be too old for anyone to give a shit. Because at your age, how old are you again? 20-something?
22.
22. At 22, I could split the earth's core. You should be so strong. You know why God made your girl leave you? Because he wanted to show you that you ain't shit. He wanted to show you that you are human and you're fallible and that you're very replaceable. So he decided to make you fall in love with a girl, and he decided to make her leave you to show you that you are a dead. Now it is your job to look at the board, understand what's happened, say, I understand, God, I deserve that. I'm glad she left me and I'm sad because I am a dead, and do something about it. Because if you refuse, if you ignore God's message, next time you fall in love with a bitch, guess what he's going to do?
What?
He's going to make her leave you to remind you once again that you are a dead. Every single man out here, if you're upset that your girl's leaving you, God is reminding you that you aren't worth shit. You need to get up and work so hard that even in the eyes of God, he is proud of you. God loves his creations, which show him their true potential and beauty. By getting up and trying your absolute best and becoming a man of moral standing, he will reward you and bless you endlessly. If you continue to be a dead, God will remind you you're a dead. So God just broke your heart on purpose to show you that the way you're living your life and the man you are simply are not good enough. What have you changed since? Nothing. Nothing. You think God's going to forgive you for no reason? You think God's going to go, oh, that little Aiden, it's fine. He hasn't learned his lesson. He hasn't changed. He isn't even trying very hard. He's not up early in the gym. He ain't doing nothing. It's fine. Let's just let him fall in love and let's make sure the girl doesn't f someone else on OnlyFans this time. No, sir. This is going to repeat endlessly. It's a cycle that will not change until you take the message from God and become the man you're supposed to be. You must stop being a Aiden.
Okay.
You deserve this. You deserve what's happened to you. You deserve how you feel. All of it.
And I've heard some stupid advice from a bunch of other people. I don't want to say names. I had some guy with a blue check mark message me on Twitter, and he's like, look, I'm trying to find a girl who understands to behave right, and I'm trying to find a girl who's done the self-work and is introspective and has been to therapy and understands. I was like, bro, I don't know what planet you're on. You can't even get a girl who's hot. Let alone a girl who's hot and been to therapy and is going to listen to a dork like you. Yeah. That's the reason girls aren't listening to you, is because you're a nerd, right? That's the reality of it. If you want a good relationship, you're going to have to build a good relationship. And females aren't stupid. You know, for you to be authoritarian, for them to look it up to you with authority, you have to show some competence. They're not going to completely bend over and comply with you just because you have and that's what this tragcon crap is. This idea that, well, I'm a man, she's a woman, so she obeys me no matter what. Most of you men aren't men. Yeah. And that's why she doesn't listen to you. Because I'm telling you, if you meet a woman who's half good and you're the big G, she'll behave.
And the truth is, as a man, a woman doesn't even have to like you. She doesn't even have to love you. But if she respects you, she's always going to be around. And this is why, if I love a woman with all my heart and she goes, I want to leave, the first thing I'm going to say is, pack. Because if I say anything else, she's not going to respect me. Like, if oh, please stay, I'll say, look, I don't want you to leave. I would like you to stay, but if you're going to talk shit and threaten me, you get the fuck out of my house. Like, I've had women leave me, but I've never had a woman not respect me. And that's why I can hit up any ex I've ever had, and I know they'll reply. Because they respect me on a base level. So why do they respect me? Because I respect myself. So I will never sacrifice my self-respect. I guess that's the bottom line. It doesn't matter if I love you.
my self-respect has to come first. And that's good for me, and it's good for you. Because if I sacrifice my self-respect, you wouldn't love me anymore either, bitch. So that's just how it's going to be. That's just how I view the self, because that's how I view the world. That's how I always am. You know, you have to a degree, put yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup. You have to be like all about you. No one else is going to fix your life. I really don't believe no one else is going to make your life fantastic but you. You have to be all about you. And so many of these guys who get hurt, because I really believe guys get hurt more than women nowadays. This idea that men hurt women and break women's hearts. Okay, maybe I've broken a few. But besides the elite players like me, most of the time it's the women the guys over. I really believe that. And a lot of the times they're getting screwed up is because they've tied their identity so intricately with this girl that they've lost their sense of self. You lose your sense of self, you can't have self-respect. And that's why she doesn't respect you anyway, and that's why it's all going downhill, and that's why you lose her and you panic and blah, blah, blah. You've got to be about yourself first. She has to be a compliment. So yeah, I've had my heart broken in regards to, I've had times women have left and I've really, really missed her. But I have never texted her first. Ever.
What did you do with the pain of the heartbreak?
I did the same thing I do if my heart wasn't broken. I got up. I went in the gym. I lifted a bunch of weights. I got in my fast car. I drove down the road looking sexy as bought a Starbucks and made some money. It doesn't matter. How I feel has no bearing on how I live my life.
That as a man, we're born with absolutely zero value. We can build ourselves into what we want to be. I get people messaging me all the time like, hey, Tate, you have this money. When I was young, I wanted to be the big, strong fighter with money. I'm exactly what I wanted to be. I decided I wanted to be James Bond. And I got as close as I possibly could. You get to build your own character. If you want to be a rapper, you get to go be a rapper. If you want to be a gunslinging cowboy building steel buildings, you get to be Waller. You can do anything you want to be. I'm exactly what I always wanted to be. I wanted to be a fighter. I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be big. I wanted to be semi-intimidating to a degree. I wanted to be connected. I wanted to be like a mob boss from a video game. I made all of that come true. As a man, you can decide exactly what you want to be. So if you're a dork, guess what you decided to be? You decided to be a nerd. And then you're going to sit there as a dork and say, why are the big G's got all the... That was your decision, my friend. You have to fill up those buckets that Justin Waller's talking about. You have to go fill them up. And women, we're talking about respect. Women aren't going to respect men who don't respect themselves. You're not going to sit there without working hard and say, well, I'm a man, so you have to listen. That's fantasy tradcon bullshit. That's not real. You have to be about it, right? So get out there and do it. The modern world was built by men trying to prove their capabilities and prove they could do things. I barely sleep and I never not work and I never lay in. I'm never lazy. And I don't understand how people don't work all of the time. The answer to everything has always been raw action. I was talking to my brother. I was saying, if you know good men, all they want to do is most of the time is work. What men who are good want to do most of the time is work. Some version of work. Training, making money, organizing their life, getting their car clean, whatever. It's a degree of work. Women love fun. Women want fun all the time. And fun is where all the haramities appear. It's where all the negative orgons appear. You're only going to get in a fight if you're going out trying to have fun. You're all like drugs and rape charges and physical violence and assassinations. This all is linked to fun.
Yeah.
If you want fun, you're dragging all this shit into your life. Wasting
getting
money.
Drunk.
Yeah. If you want to just work, you can avoid a lot of bad things.
Am I hard on myself? Yes. Does that benefit me? I believe so. I'm hard on myself because life is hard. I think
could life be easier if you thought life was easy? Because isn't life what you see, not what it is?
What's the point in having an easy life? Why would I want an easy life? If someone were to say to me, do you want an easy life? I'd say that sounds boring. I mean, did Genghis Khan want an easy life? Did Alexander the Great want an easy life? Did any of the men you can remember from history, any of the ones that actually matter, ever want an easy life? If I meet a man and he says, I want an easy life, I just want a stress-free life, I look at him and think, you're born to lose. You're born to lose, sir. You can have your stress-free life, and you can serve me my latte, and you can, because you're not made to, life is war, and it's going to be stressful. And
life isn't always war.
Of course it is. Life is war. Every single aspect of life is war. Not losing your temper in traffic on your way to a podcast is war. Trying to get a girl that the other guy wants is war. Trying to buy a Ferrari that everybody else can't afford is war. Training is war. Fighting is war. Life is war. I see war everywhere. When I see a big, beautiful oak tree, I don't see a big, beautiful oak tree. I see a tree that destroyed all the saplings around it and crushed them mercilessly. It's war. Life is war. So that's how I view it.
There's so much work for you to do as a man. I don't know how people I barely sleep and I never not work and I never lay in. I'm never lazy. And I don't understand how people don't work all of the time. And when I say that, people say, but work on what? I don't know what to work on. Bro, you need 10 passports. You need 25 bank accounts. You need shell companies. You need a trust fund. You need to make some money. You then need to move that money away. You need multiple places to live. You need a place for your children to live. They need a trust fund. You have stuff to do.
Yep.
And people are just sitting around doing nothing. It's mind boggling to me.
Anyone who knows me will tell you, if I'm awake, I'm working. I'm awake, I'm working. From the second I wake up, I'm on my laptop till the second I go to sleep. First thing I do when I wake up is check my phone. First thing I do is I work. And if I even do anything fun, I kill all the fun because I make it work. Oh, we have to film it, get this, need this scene. Filming having fun is not having fun, ever. So I make it work. So I only enjoy work. I like to work because I like to feel proud of myself. I don't want to be happy. I want to feel proud of myself. So I rest when I sleep. Sure. If I'm ultimately tired and need a few extra hours in bed every once in a while, yeah, okay, I'll do that. But I never just have a day. Tristan, back me up. Have I ever said I need a day where I just need a day off? Have you ever heard me say I need a day off? No. Ever. I work all the time. I think I've always understood that you can outwork people. Yeah. You can truly outwork people, and you can outwork a lot of things about yourself as well. You can outwork a lot of negative emotions. You can outwork a lot of problems in your mind. Like people sit and say, oh, I'm unhappy or I'm sad. You don't have time. How do you find the time in the day to sit around thinking about being sad? Like, you have shit to do. Like I don't have time to sit around and contemplate how I feel because I'm busy. So how do you even have time for that? I've had people sit and give me long trotes on how they feel. And I'm like, where did you even come up with this shit? How long have you been sitting around just thinking about nothing? I don't have time for it. A plane defies gravity with speed. Oh, man. That's all it does. If a plane stops moving forward, what happens? It falls down, right? So if you can do the same thing with yourself and your mentality and your problems and everyone else around you, you can outwork everybody. So I've always understood outworking people. And I also think that it's very easy to work hard and win when you're already winning. It's hard to get there. It starts off harder. It's harder to find a way to make money and work all the time and deal with all the bullshit and be at the bottom of whatever industry you're in and not have any reputation, whatever. But if I were to say to all of you right now, for every minute you body spar, you get $1,000. I guarantee we'd still be out there right now sparring. Everyone would be like, all right. So like, once you get to the point, like in my position where I know if I put the time in, I'm going to win, then how can I stop now?
What is a man? Truthfully, a man, I believe, is being able to do the things that are hard or do things you don't want to do because you're supposed to do them. I think that's what a man's always been. A man is supposed to be strong. He needs to be strong, so he has to become strong. That's his job. A man is supposed to be brave. It's not that you can't feel fear. It's that you have to be brave. The modern world was built by men trying to prove their capabilities and prove they could do things. That's what the whole world is. That's all it's ever been. But truthfully, the real men were, I'm going to go over and try and cross Antarctica by foot because no one's done it. Well, that doesn't make sense. You'll freeze to death. Maybe, but I might do it. Right? So why are we in skyscrapers? Why have we gone to Mars? Why do men buy expensive things? Why do we do hard things? That's what masculinity's always been. That's how the world was built. But now they're going to come along and say, no, that's not masculinity. Masculinity is not trying to be the best version of yourself and proving to the world that you can do what others can't do. The reason I bought 65 cars is I can put them in a row and it looks funny. Yeah. Haha, look, I can. Peacock, look what I can do. Ah, that's it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to go any deeper. No, I don't have to drive them. I can't even name most of them. Mm-hmm. But they're now convinced you that true masculinity is being so sure within yourself that you don't have to prove anything to anybody. Well, if you don't have to prove anything to anybody, then you don't have any capability. So you're actually a useless idiot. And if you're going to sit there and be so arrogant
that you believe you have no duty to the society or to your woman or to your ancestors, and you can just be secure in yourself, and I don't need to prove myself to nobody, and I'm just secure in myself. Well, you're one of the sheep being led to the slaughter because you have absolutely no capabilities whatsoever. There is a huge percentage of the populace which they're beyond saving because of the worst thing you can possibly be, which is a quitter. Being a quitter is the worst thing you can possibly be. God himself can't make a quitter important because the only reason the place you're trying to get to has value is because it was difficult to reach. If everybody could reach it, there'd be no value. Value is linked to scarcity. The whole point gold is valuable is because it's not everywhere. If it was everywhere, it wouldn't have any value. The reason the place you're trying to reach is valuable is because people can't get there. So if you're the kind of person who quits, you're never going to get there. Quitters are the worst. You could give a quitter a map, a treasure map, and a hot air balloon and say, it's going to take you right to the treasure. It's going to be a 7-day journey. Here's a sandwich. And halfway through, they'll be like, oh, I'm cold.
Yeah. You just said that, oh, 7 days, nah.
Yeah, and they'll quit.
Yeah.
Quitters will never make it. And there's a huge subsect of the populace who are basically simply quitters. I've never in my life seen anyone who's determined to get something not get it. I've never seen somebody who is determined in their heart to get something, not get it. The universe and God is so giving and providing. People think it's difficult out here. I disagree. I've never seen someone wake up and say, nah, this is all I care about. This is all I want. Not get it. Everyone who thought that way in fighting was a world champion. Everyone who thought that way about money was rich. I've never seen anyone fail. Bro, I've seen people with no credit score and no job determined to get an R8 manage to get one on finance somehow. I've seen it. If it's all you want, you're going to get it.
You're going to find a way to
You're going to find a way. People go, oh, I want this. If you wanted it, you'd have it.
Literally, I spoke to a man who had done a podcast recently. He was saying if someone had a gun to your children's head and said to you, the only way I'm going to move this gun is by you making $1 million, you are going to make $1 million.
100%.
Yeah.
You're going to be motivated for the first time in your life. People often say, if you try your best, it's okay to fail. But what they don't understand, the true secret to the universe is that if you try your best, you never fail.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand. And most people aren't trying. They aren't trying. They don't know what trying is. In fact, that's probably one of the things I hear the most. I used to hear the most because I don't talk to people anymore because they all annoy me. I'm trying. No, you're not. You don't know what trying is. No, you are not trying. I know you're not trying. I know because as we sat here before we went to speak, you weren't on your phone working. You weren't trying. You were standing around talking shit to some idiot. You're not trying. People are genuinely not out here giving their absolute best because if you were, you'd have everything you've ever desired. You'd have anything you've ever wanted and asked for. Instead, what people do is they cope and convince themselves they're trying. Oh, I tried, but I need a work-life balance and it's hard and I was trying. All garbage. It's all cope. And like I said earlier, life is war. If you're a man and you don't view the world as war, I can't imagine how you view the world. My entire worldview is war.
I guess the only disadvantage of being so hard on myself is that I'm extremely hard on others. And some people find me difficult to deal with for that reason. They'll be like, oh, I'm struggling with this. I'm like, I do not give. It has to be done at this time. Oh yeah, but. I don't care. You will lose your job if it's not done at this time. That's the bottom line. And I guess I can be ruthless, but why would I have sympathy for somebody else I don't have for myself? If I'm going to be so strict on myself, why would I allow sympathy for others? If I know I'm going to do it, I'm going to hold them to my standard. No. So I guess to a degree I can come across as unempathetic to others, I guess. But, at least I'm not a hypocrite. You know, and I also like to believe that because I lead from the front, I'm not a armchair general. I'm suffering myself. So if I'm going to suffer and I'm going to perform and I'm going to get everything I need to do done, then I expect absolutely the same from everybody around me or they're not going to be around me anymore. So am I hard on myself? Yes. Will that change? No. Life is war. Life is hard. You're supposed to be hard on yourself. Perhaps most men would benefit from being a lot harder on themselves. I think I see a lot of men coming up with a lot of excuses for permanent failure. I see it all the time. Why? I can't pay my bills. Okay, cool. Why? Oh, cause it's hard. It's all just sympathy bull. I don't want to hear it. It's garbage. It's hard. It's hard for everybody. And you're going to have to just be harder on yourself and pull it off or fail. And don't talk to me.
Bro, it's, I don't know what to say. I don't want to come across as a psychopath, but it's like life is difficult. And also, I mean, we all know that there's always someone who has it worse, but that's true. I mean, we're in Romania. You can drive 5 hours to the border and you'll find men in a ditch getting blown apart by drones. You're crying over what? A bitch left you? A girl left you? Some chick who doesn't love you anymore? And you're not going to do your work because of it? Well, then you're just born to lose. I always knew the answer to everything is raw action.
Yeah.
The answer to everything has always been raw action. My dad had a tweet about this. He said that raw action solves all. And he used to say this. I'll give you an example. If you're a farmer and you need rain for your crop and there's no rain, you can sit there and say there's no rain. We're all going to starve. Or you can stand up and do a rain dance. Now, will your rain dance work? Perhaps not. Perhaps the rain won't come. But I would argue that you're better off standing up doing that rain dance than just sitting there waiting to die. You have to do something. Raw action solves. So when I was broke, I was never like, I'm poor. What do I do? It was, I'm poor. I have to do something. If I was broke, I'd go for a run. That's why I was such a great fighter. If I was broke, I'd sit there and go, I'm actually poor. How do I make money? Dunno. Where can I get some cash? Dunno. What work can I do? Dunno. I'll just go for a run then. And I'll just go for 3-mile run or go hit the punch bag and get better.
This resonates so deeply, man. This is exactly what I did.
That's exactly. You just have to say, well, I have to do something. I can't just sit still and die. A lot of people are happy to just sit still and die or jerk off and go to sleep and take a nap. Well, if that's what you want to do, then you can say a loser. That's fine. I'm glad there are losers because if everyone had Lamborghinis, my Lamborghini wouldn't be fun to show off. I need you to look at it and feel the deep pain in your heart of regret and failure. That's the whole point of it. I need to drive my Bugatti and everyone be looking at it going, I'll never have one of those. And I can get all their energy and feel it all. And it makes me happy. Fantastic. So you can sit at home and do nothing. But when I was poor, I had to go for a run. I couldn't sit still or lift weights or do something. I couldn't even sleep. So raw action solves everything. And I understood that at a young age. But as you get older, you get to look back and you get to put your whole story together, the whole tapestry together. I knew I wouldn't stay poor. Did I ever think I'd get this rich? Well, I never said I wouldn't, but did I ever think it would probably happen at this level? No, but it's amazing how the compounding interest of just endless raw action adds up. I've never had a lazy day. I've never skipped work, never missed an email, never had a day off, ever. Your name, if you were to go through the last 3 years of my life, you will see that there's never been a day where I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And it all just adds up and then monumental success comes and you get to laugh at everybody else. Ha ha ha. And life's great.
I think we're here to struggle and to learn. I don't think we're here to be happy. That's why when we keep going back to the happy argument, I've always found that kind of frustrating and annoying. When someone goes, oh, but I want to be happy. Why? Why do you want to sit there and laugh? Like you were happy your entire childhood. That's your happy days. You're allowed to be happy as a kid. Right. It's all over now, right? You're a man. You have responsibilities. I think we're here to do important. Provide, protect. And we're also here to do important things. And important things are going to be difficult and they're going to be hard and you're going to get frustrated. But that's what gives you purpose. I don't see anyone who's chasing happiness. I think that's a very feminine frame. I understand why some women just want to be happy. I don't know how it feels to be a girl because I'm not one. But in my experience, I know women who just want to be happy. Yeah. Girls just want to have fun. Fine. But you're a man, right? And if you're a man, then it's absolutely an utterly different experience of life. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to endure pain. Yeah. I think we're here to just see how hard we are to kill. I think that going through terrible things and living through them and coming out the other side is one of the most fantastic things about being human. I think that it's almost like once you understand what life is really about, there's no emotion which isn't enjoyable. The only emotional state which can be seen as detrimental is feeling nothing at all. But if you're sitting at home and you're feeling truly heartbroken, at least you're feeling something, right? And I think that's the whole part of being human. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to go through pain. That's so I wake up each day and go, what can I attack? What problem can I solve? And look at history. Why did Genghis Khan wake up and want to conquer the whole world? Why did Napoleon conquer the world? Why did Alexander the Great conquer the world? You just wake up and just say, give me this, give me that. I want all of it. I need to, there's an army there. They're really big. We're better. It's intrinsic. Yeah. You need to go and conquer. That's the purpose of life.
Why do some men do what they do? Why did Elon decide to put rockets in space instead of just retire? He was rich after PayPal. Why? That's fair. Why did Alexander the Great need all that land? Why did men go to the Antarctic to try and cross
the icy, barren, empty plains and freeze to death to just be the first men who did it. Why do that? You can't even put it on Facebook back then. Who gives a shit? Some men are built different, sir. Some men want to do it because it hasn't been done. And that is the reason why. They do not need much more motivation than the fact they will be first. There isn't much motivation to get on a rocket and be the first man on the moon because the probability is you're going to die or get stuck up there and never make it back. Or even if you do go and you do come back, half the people on earth won't believe you went at all. So why would you do that unless you're just that kind of guy? The fact that you will say to me, but it puts a target on your head shows me that God will never, ever give you my position of influence because along the way, you will have so many chances to be which you will take, which will prevent you from ever getting to my echelon of capability and influence and power. Because if I gave about having a target on my head at all, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And I wouldn't have the ability to do the things I can do.
That's fair.
So I don't care. I'm doing it because it must be done. There's an opportunity for it to be done. And I can do it better than anybody else.
I don't care how I feel.
Yeah.
I don't care if I feel happy or sad. It doesn't really affect what I do each day. I do the exact same things. I act the exact same way. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't put weight to the significance of the emotion. So I always consider myself a happy person. But if I woke up and I was slightly less happy one day than another, it wouldn't affect anything I do and I wouldn't put any relevance to it. I'm human and that's life. And so, yeah, am I any happier now that I have hundreds of millions of dollars than before I was broke?
Yeah.
Not really, but I was never unhappy. I'm the same state that I was then that I am now. I have work to do and I will do it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Very well put. Yeah. No, but you're right. Definitely. I've heard like the chase for happiness. And the more you try to seek happiness, the more you enforce in yourself that you're not happy.
Well, also there's no light without dark and there's no joy without pain. You can't have a rainbow without a little rain.
Exactly.
And no matter how hard you chase pleasure and happiness, there's going to be dips and troughs in between. There's going to be come downs and downtrends. And you're going to have the juxtaposition between that time you were laughing your head off and acting giddish like a child and the time that you feel depressed as such. And I think it's much better to just adopt a very disciplined, stoic mindset. I'm always the same base level of happy regardless. If I lost all of my money today, I would be the same happy. If my net worth quadrupled, I'd be the same happiness.
Yeah.
As long as I'm alive, which is a struggle, unfortunately, in the current climate. But as long as I'm alive and the people I care about and love are alive, and as long as God gives me the honor of doing my duties and providing for the people I care about, as long as I get to wake up and know that there's a whole bunch of people in the world who need me and I get to work hard to please them and do good for society and good for the world.
Yeah.
Then I'm a vessel of God and I'm happy enough to survive. That's all I look at it as. I don't ever consider how do I feel. That doesn't cross my mind. I have things to do. I have things to do.
You're too busy to think about that.
I'm too busy. I have things to do every single day. I have very important things to do, and how I feel really is not going to affect how I complete those tasks.
Right.
And when I speak to men, they say I'm unhappy or I need to be happier. I think that's absolutely the wrong frame of life. You're a man. You have duty. You have honor. You have things you should be doing regardless of how you feel. And the people who are perma obsessed with happiness or sadness, I just think it's the wrong paradigm to view the lens of life. I think you should get up and do what needs to be done.
As a man, your life is supposed to be shit. My argument to this is people go, I don't feel good. I say, good. Your life as a man is going to be terrible the entire time. Having tears run down my face as I'm doing push-ups, or tears run down my face as I'm organizing the school for my child and my voice isn't breaking, is different than sitting and crying. I didn't sit and dedicate myself to crying. I didn't sit and do the act of crying. My eyes leaked as I achieved.
Let's time travel back to you as a child.
Sure.
Because I feel like what made you who you are now is based mostly off of how you were raised.
Absolutely.
Take me back.
So I grew up in a very kind of strange world, and I was a professional chess player. I was on my path to being a professional chess player at the age of 5. So I played chess for the early part of my life. And then at the age of 11, my mother and father split up. My mom took me back to Luton. So from the age of 11, I grew up in Luton. So that's the very beginning of the story. And a lot's happened between now and then, and here I am. So yeah, I think I had the best possible upbringing a person can have, which is good parents and no money. I didn't get famous or rich young, which I also thank the Lord for. I think a lot of these people who get famous online quite early, I think they miss out a lot of life.
It's not real life.
It's not real life.
It's not real life.
No, I had real jobs and I did real things and I was really broke and I was really on the bus and really trying to pay rent and doing real stuff for a long time. So I want people to understand I come from the lowest possible socioeconomic background. I come from a single mother household. My father and mother broke up when I was 9. I lived in Luton, England, which is the worst town in England. I grew up and went to a school with a 3% pass rate. Everyone around me was stabbing each other and selling drugs.
I thought you said your father was one of the best fathers you've ever had.
He was, but my mother and father broke up and he stayed in America and I moved to England and he wasn't financially successful, but he taught me other lessons. Gotcha. And I'm glad he didn't give me money because I think that a harsh upbringing and a harsh life makes a man a man. I don't think you learn a lesson any other way, but I come from the absolute bottom and now I'm up at a position where we have a very large empire. A lot of it is shadow. Most people don't know what it is, but even our overt things, even our university and things that are online are turning over $15-20 million a week. So we're doing crazy sums of money. So I've been from the absolute bottom to the absolute top. I've seen it all. Okay. When I'm sitting there and saying to men, look, life as a man is shit. It's always been shit. It's never been good. When men wake up and say, I'm depressed and life is hard and I'm sad and I'm struggling right now, I say, okay, throughout history, men have always struggled. Happiness is for children and women. Name a time in history it was better to be a man. Was it better to be a man in World War II? Was it better to be a man on the Titanic? Was it better to be a man in the Napoleonic Wars? Was it better to be a man when you were sitting in Vienna and the Mongol horde arrived, ready to decapitate any male and enslave all the females? When's it ever been good to be a man? Building the pyramids, was that fun? It's always sucked. The only time being a man ever is good is if you become an exceptional man.
When I was 21, me and Andrew used to have no food. I used to drive my broken Volkswagen Golf to the KFC restaurant in Dunstable, United Kingdom. And I used to sit in my car. And you couldn't ever eat anyone's leftover food if they ever had their mouth on it. But at KFC, they used to buy buckets. And I would sit and wait for people to sit outside, eat their meal, and leave the bucket on the table. And I used to go and take that bucket, 3 or 4 pieces of chicken. And I used to collect 20, 30, 40 pieces of chicken that were perfectly fine left in the buckets. And I used to go home and I used to freeze that chicken. And me and Andrew would break it up, put it in our rice. And that was our meal. That's what sustained us for that hard year. That year we had when I was 21 and you were 22. Yeah. That's how broke we were. I used to scavenge chicken from KFC because I thought, fuck it, I'm not dying and I'm not losing my kickboxing fights because I don't have enough protein. What am I going to do to make it through today? That's how broke I was. And that's a sad story if you never make it out. To me, that's a happy story. That's a story of triumph. Now it's like, hey, Andrew, it's my birthday. What we doing? KFC? And it's a big joke. We sit there eating our KFC laughing about how we used to scavenge KFC chicken.
I became world champion. Tristan became European champion. And like he said, we didn't have enough protein in our fucking diet. We're sitting there eating rice every day thinking this is the cheapest thing we can eat. We have no fucking
sardines.
Money. But we need some meat. How can we get meat? I became world champion without even fucking food. And you got these kids with millions and millions and millions. He ain't got a 6-pack. It's fucking embarrassing.
So what I say to men is, look, life's hard. It's always going to be hard. It's always going to suck. It always has. The only way to get out is to become excellent and perform at a level where your echelon is so high that you get to live this brand new experience. You need to become strong and smart and interesting and charismatic. You need to become rich, powerful, well-known, connected. You need to do it. If I feel like I'm going to go to war, I need money. And even in this war I've been in, even when I went to jail, right? Not a lot of people understand how the legal system works, but the process itself is a punishment. The day I was arrested, all of my bank accounts were frozen. All of my cars were seized.
That's scary, dude.
Yeah, all of my cars were seized. All of my diamond watches were taken. $900,000 in cash was taken. Gold bars was taken. All of my value was taken, right? So since January, technically, I haven't had access to $1. It's now been a year, and I don't have a penny, according to DCAL and the Romanian legal system. Luckily, I have some good friends who look after me. Since January, I haven't had access to a single dollar. Now, I'm me. Right? So perhaps I have very rich friends. Perhaps I was paranoid and prepared. Perhaps I have multiple identities. Who knows how I pulled it off to have all new cars again, right? But most humans could not survive getting grabbed from their house in January, all of their bank accounts frozen, every app on their phone taken away from them, their passport seized, thrown in a cell, and then taken out of that cell, locked in their house for 5 months. And then even when they're allowed out of the house, they still don't have $1. How do you pay the rent? How do you pay the bills? How do you feed people? And this is what's actually interesting, because when I was in jail, my number one concerns were not for me. My biggest concerns when I was in jail was for everyone I care about. Yeah. I'd get my phone time and I'd be on the phone like, okay. And they're like, what's going on? What's going on? I'm like, listen, We only have 5 minutes.
Let me make sure you get paid.
Is this paid?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Do you need this? Do you need that? I just spent all my time trying to look after other people from a prison cell with seized bank accounts.
Did you think you were going to come out?
No.
When a storm hits, the storm is still hitting.
Yep.
But there's a difference from you drowning in the storm or standing above the storm.
Absolutely.
And I think that you're always going to have challenges and obstacles.
Storms are going to come.
But I guarantee you, there's obstacles that you could walk through with a smile on your face that another man could fall apart.
Absolutely. I've just been through some, and I'm sure I'll have more. It says in the Quran, just because you believe, you think Allah will not test you. Just because you believe in me, you think you're not going to be tested.
I think being tested is a great thing for
That's
you.
how God shows love.
Yeah.
Because because God's love is a disciplinarian love. It's a masculine love. It's like a father. A father shows love through putting you on the bike, letting you fall over, letting you hurt your knee, picking you back up, putting you back on the bike. That's how a father shows love, and God is the same. When I came up with my plan and I worked with the War Room, we put together a 1-year plan to become the most famous man on the planet, and I pulled it off and I did it. And my plan was to get canceled. And the reason was because I knew that the Matrix the dam had a bunch of pressure behind it. Everyone was tired of the censorship. But when you get canceled, you vanish. And I said, there's so much pressure behind the dam. The crack it needs is for someone to get canceled and stay relevant or become more relevant than before.
Damn.
Then people won't be afraid of getting canceled anymore. So then they'll start to talk. And when I got canceled and I moved to Rumble and I put together the whole big Rumble thing and I put together my final message and I said my unmatched perspicacity coupled with sheer indefatigability makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor. And I sat down with Patrick Bet David and I said, they fucked up. They shouldn't have deleted me. They sitting around thinking they've got rid of me. They made a mistake. And then the Matrix got pissed off. I got bigger. So they threw me in jail, which made me bigger. You know, it's interesting. I won't say who, but a very famous and very intelligent right-wing commentator said to me when I was talking to him about all of this, and he agreed with every single word I said. He said, the only way out is through. You have to get so big they're scared to kill you. It's the only way, or they're going to get rid of you. If you stay in the middle, you're going to go. You have to get so big that killing you will cause the problems they don't want you to cause alive.